Now let's go across to Afghanistan. This footage is just incredible. A TV host over there addressed his audience reading a statement from the Taliban. Now have a look at the footage. He's got heavily armed Taliban fighters standing menacingly behind him. Have we got the footage? Because I'm not describing it as well as the footage would. Here we go. So you can see there's two of the Taliban fighters. There's more in the studio. And the host tells his audience that the Afghan people should not be afraid. Parnell, he would say that, wouldn't he? I mean, the poor guy, he looks terrified to me.
Doesn't he? So he looks absolutely petrified. And unfortunately, this is what Afghanistan is going to look like now, sort of these very heavily armed people. And I don't care how much public relations there is around it's a new, refreshed Taliban. If you have a group of only loosely disciplined fighters who are roaming the country with a sense of having conquered or won, you're going to have an invasion mentality, and there is not going to be any discipline and governance in this collection of people. So they've got the weapons. They're going to use them in an uncontrolled way against a population who they feel they've conquered.
And Terry, I want to play you a clip here of just how badly the Biden administration has botched everything to do with this Afghanistan withdrawal. Have a listen to what the Taliban have gained from the US.
Due to the negligence of this administration, the Taliban now has access to over $85 billion worth of American military equipment. That includes 75,000 vehicles, over 200 airplanes and helicopters, over 600,000 small arms and light weapons. The Taliban now has more Black Hawk helicopters than 85% of the countries in the world. But they don't just have weapons. They also have night vision goggles, body armor, medical supplies, and unbelievably, unfathomable to me and so many others, is that the Taliban now has biometric devices, which have the fingerprints, eye scans, and the biographical information of the Afghans who helped us over the last 20 years.
Terry, that was Jim Banks, is a veteran and a member of the House of Reps over in the US. You listen to that and all you can do is shake your head. How could it have been botched this badly?
Rita, I think the Babylon Bee, the US satire site, summed this up very well with the story saying that the Taliban would now open a chain of army surplus stores in the US to sell the stuff back to Americans. I mean, it's an extraordinary story. It's a disgraceful story, and it's a tragedy in the making. That last little bit at the end there, where the Taliban have ended up with the ways of identifying Afghan allies of the US. I mean, this is the most disgraceful retreat, abandonment of your allies and of your position in the global environment, because who is ever going to trust America again for a very long time to be able to be trusted not to abandon you, and not only abandon you, to actually hand you over to your common enemy, what was supposed to be your common enemy. I mean, this is going to play out for a very long time, and it's going to play out very badly for all of us, and obviously Australia.
And staying in the US, Biden has copped a bit of a backlash today for, let's have a look at the footage, checking his watch during what is supposed to be a very dignified, sombre moment, the transfer of the service members killed in Afghanistan. Are we being too harsh there, Terry? Was that just a habit that people do, or should he, as president, that should be the last thing you do, wondering what time it is when you've got family members there who've lost their loved ones?
No, we shouldn't be too harsh, Rita. I mean, most 78-year-olds check their watch around 5 p.m. because that's when they have their evening meal. And, you know, he was worried that he would miss out. I mean, no, we're not being too harsh on Biden. I mean, what we really should be harsh on is the US media, which covered this up for the last 12 months, running into the election in 2020 and since the election in 2020. The real disgrace is the way the mainstream media in the US has behaved in being part of the process of not allowing the reality of Biden to show out. And this is it adds to this very, very disturbing situation we now found ourselves in, where we don't have the most important country in the world have a leader. The US is literally leaderless.
Well, there's always Kamala. I mean, she just inspires so much confidence. So there's that.